Is fear the biggest thing preventing you from creating content for your business? A lot of people I talk to, this is really the biggest thing. I know for me as a business owner, even as somebody whose business is creating content, I still deal with this. This is still something that I have to actively work to manage, to mitigate. So I understand this perspective from somebody who does this professionally. And the reason I bring this up is because um, I've been helping people try to get over this. I've been getting over it myself. And something that actually helped me very recently was I was listening to this book, The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. I've been listening to this book for 10 years. Go back and I listened to the audio, and there was a concept in there that I want to share with you because this may be like a fundamental way of changing the way that you look at what you do, addressing those inner voices that say like, why am I doing this? What's the point of making these videos? Why would I get in front of the camera? I'm not qualified. They're doing so much better than me. All of those fucking crazy things that we say to ourselves before we hit record that really stifle us, prevent us from doing what we know we need to be doing. Now, this isn't going to necessarily make any production pieces easier. This is more a mindset shift on a foundational level. And I may not do the best job of explaining this. This is a concept that I'm just starting to grasp. So go download this book. It's 2 hours long if you read the whole thing. But this has changed my approach to art, to business. And you may not get this out of the book, but you may get some other great insights. I highly recommend it. I really can't recommend it enough. So actually, we're going to dive into and read parts of this. Yes, I am in my garage today, but I've got to do this live, and we've got no choice. So we're going to do it. We're going to do this together. All right, so I hope you can see this. All right, so I want to read through this because there's two concepts. There's the hierarchy, and then there is the territorial orientation. And I think a lot of times when we find ourselves being afraid of putting something out, we're often in comparison, or we think like, well, this is what I think. I'm not the most famous content creator. There's people that create content that gets way more views than me. There's people that create content that's sold way more than me. There's all kinds of things. So why should I be the one to get on and talk to people about it, or say, hey, if you use content, you can grow your business? But when you compare myself to others, then there's kind of this like, am I a fraud? All of these fucking terrifying things that you think. And yes, it's good to be real about this stuff because you don't want to be a fraud for sure. But also, when you look at it that way, you're putting yourself in this hierarchy, and that doesn't really help to make this stuff easier. And it actually prevents you from doing the work that you need to. So let me read this section. Maybe it'll make more sense. Maybe it won't. At this point, I don't know. Go read it for yourself. But the artist in the hierarchy, for the artist to define himself hierarchically, is fatal. Let's examine why. First, let's look at what happens in a hierarchical orientation. An individual who defines himself by his place in a pecking order will, 1, compete against all others in the order, seeking to elevate his station by advancing against those above him while defending his place against those beneath. We can talk about that. Evaluate his happiness, success, achievement by his rank within the hierarchy, feeling most satisfied when he's high and most miserable when he's low. Act towards others based upon their rank in the hierarchy to the exclusion of all other factors, and evaluate his every move solely by the effect it produces on others. He'll act for others, dress for others, speak for others, think for others. Now, all of these, if you actually are paying attention to what I'm saying or reading, people that do this, and probably chances are you do this in some ways when you get out of your territory of expertise. Like when you go to start making videos, you now start thinking, am I competing against others? Oh man, this got a ton of views. That's great. oh man, this video got nothing. I feel like shit. What am I doing? Why am I here? And this number one, two thing does prevent a lot of people from making content if you're nervous that the people above you will judge you, and if you're nervous that the people that aren't as far along will like steal your ideas, things like that. You're gonna get into this zone. So we won't read the rest of this chapter, but it's basically saying don't do that. More or less, don't do that. But I want to introduce you to this concept of the territorial orientation. And this is something that's actually helping me shift my focus. And like I said, I've listened to this dozens of times, or a dozen times probably. And this is the first time this stuck out. And I think it's because I'm starting to become more of an expert in my field. And rather than letting those self-doubts take over, this is actually helping me navigate and operate in a more effective way. So the territorial orientation. There's a three-legged coyote who lives up the hill from me. All the garbage cans in the neighborhood belong to him. It's his territory. Every now and then, some four-legged intruder tries to take over, but they can't do it. On his home turf, even a peg-legged critter is invincible. And we humans have territories too. Ours are psychological. Stevie Wonder's territory is the piano. Arnold Schwarzenegger's is the gym. When Bill Gates pulls into the parking lot at Microsoft, he's on his territory. When I sit down to write, I'm on mine. What are the qualities of a territory? I want you to pay attention to these. 1, a territory provides sustenance. So runners know what a territory is. Rock climbers, kayakers, yogis do. Artists and entrepreneurs do too. The swimmer who towels off after finishing her laps feels a hell of a lot better than the tired, cranky person who dove into the pool 30 minutes earlier. That's the fucking truth. 2, a territory sustains us without any external input. Not thinking about what other people are doing. A territory is a closed feedback loop. Our role is to put in effort and love. The territory absorbs this and gives it back to us in the form of well-being. When experts tell us that exercise or any other effort requiring activity banishes depression, this is what they mean. And a territory can only be claimed alone. You can team with a partner, you can work out with a friend, but you only need yourself to soak up your territory's juice. 4, a territory can only be claimed by work. When Arnold Schwarzenegger hits the gym, he's on his own turf. But what made it his own are the hours and years of sweat he put in to claim it. A territory doesn't give, it gives back. And a territory returns exactly what you put in. So territories are fair. Every erg of energy that you put in goes infallibly into your account, and a territory never devalues. A territory never crashes. What you deposited, you get back dollar for dollar. So his question is, what's your territory? So that's a question that you've got to ask. And just from my perspective, I'm starting to realize that this has become my territory, my business. Interviewing people, creating content for businesses, helping other people be comfortable on camera, helping other people answer questions to highlight, here's the value that my business delivers to my customers. Here's how I explain it. Here's how I put it out to different places. And now that I'm starting to think of it, again, look, a territory can only be claimed by work. Okay, it can only be claimed alone. I have to do it. A territory sustains us without any external input. I'm not relying on others. I'm not comparing myself to others as much. I still suffer from it, yes, but it's something that I'm getting better and better at because I'm not focused on, hey, I need to be there or they got this. Oh my God, what is that? No, let me look at what I've actually accomplished. Let me take note of this. Yes, I can look at analytics. Yes, I can see what's working. It doesn't mean ignore the external world, but this is what's sustaining me. I figured out how to make money with it. I figured out how to help people with it. That's become its own closed feedback loop in this case. So I can actually move ahead. And the territory provides sustenance. Like I've built this and I know that if I'm actually going to go in and work it and do it, I'm going to feel better. So the reason why I wanted to bring this up, and I'm trying not to ramble here, but if you can start to think about this from your perspective of what is your territory, what what part of your business do you know inside and out? What part of your business do you show up to every single day that you know that if you put in the time, it's going to give you something back? That doesn't mean that every day is going to be perfect. That doesn't mean every day you show up that everything's roses. I worked really hard, so I get a great result. No, sometimes you go work super hard and you get fucking absolutely nothing for that day. But you know that if you don't do it, you're definitely going to get nothing. So, what is that thing for you? What have you built expertise on? What do you know about your territory? Let's say, like, I'm just talking to somebody recently, but let's say you're a staffing company. What do you know about the market? What do you know about your customers' challenges? What do they struggle with? What are the things that they don't understand about the industry? What are the things that you understand about hiring people? What are the things that you understand about hiring somebody that's short term versus somebody who's going to be fit for a company for the next 18 months, 3 years, 5 years? What is that knowledge that you've built? And dig into that. Start looking at your territory, because as you go to create content for your business, you need to be able to tap into that. And that will help you overcome some of the fear that comes with the imposter syndrome. Should I even be talking about this? Am I qualified to talk about this? I understand that you're going to feel that way. And probably if you didn't, you might be a fucking narcissist, which is, hey, in some ways, I kind of envy that people can just get up and like talk no problem. Like I kind of respect that in very many ways. But I would say most people don't show up that way. They show up afraid. They're concerned that, hey, if I put this out there, people might call me on something, that experts might say that I don't know what I'm talking about, or that the people below me might steal my ideas. No, if you're working your territory, if you start taking this territorial approach and you understand that you're a master of that territory, when you go to create content, you can start to eliminate some of that fear of worrying where you sit in the hierarchy. That's the main thing that I took away from this latest reading of this book. Um, yeah, if you're interested in this book, find it. I think in the post link, you can find it. Trust me, if you have some sort of artistic pursuit, if you have some sort of business pursuit, and there's voices in your head that create self-doubt, if there's anything that comes to you like that, get this book. It puts it in a great perspective, because it takes those voices and the things that want to stop you, and it lets you know that it's actually not you thinking these. It's kind of a force that's outside of yourself. He calls it resistance. But anyway, go check out the book. I hope that this was helpful. Please reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a good night.